Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. 10 minutes to 12. Fresh like a loaf of bread. So, we're going to pick up the night crew tonight, or the people who are having a little bit of sleeping issues. Maybe there's a good movie on TV that you just, right? You got the toothpicks in the eyes, just trying to stay with it, not realizing in the digital age, for the most part, you could get up in the morning and pick up on that movie or whatever you're doing, right? For myself, I am cleaning my spring closet. Oh my goodness, like pulling teeth, right? Getting to the point where I'm actually able to dig into the summer clothes and start hanging them up, seeing what fits, what doesn't fit, and put together another donation bag. I'll be on donation bag number 3 and 4 for sure tomorrow, but I am so grateful actually that I'm able to get that little bit of movement done because I didn't really want to do too much today. I didn't even get the laundry done. So tomorrow we're going to have to allot some time in the morning. I want to do a little bit of Mother Nature, but there are those responsibilities that if I don't take care of them, well, it's going to mess me up next week when I'm looking for an outfit, right? Or trying to get more dirty clothes into that laundry basket and end up with double the laundry next week. I'm not too worried about running out of clothes. Oh my goodness. Cleaning that closet today, I took account of how many pairs of pants that I have so far. We're in the 20s, like over 20 pair. But I tell you, today I donated at least 10 or 15 pairs of pants. Some of my favorite pants, right? Just donating them just for the fact that I have too many. Okay, you guys, this week we got this amazing word of patience. We kind of touched on it a little bit as a first impression yesterday, and we talked a little bit about my impatience when I was first starting my YouTube channel. That, it was like clockwork. Every 6 months, I thought I was close to hitting it, right? Not understanding that we have to try things, right? I pivoted so much from the time I started this brand, Prairie Dodgers, to the point where I'm sitting right now that, right, I'm not even the same person. Some of those things that I thought were absolutely the most important aspects of my life turned out to be something else. Excuse me. I had just rushed around for the past half an hour because I wanted to make sure that I made it in here on time today to say that I showed up today. It's my intent to show up fresh every day, right? I knew I was going to show up, but at the same time, needed to get some things done. I needed to feel like I was accomplishing, showing up here fresh like a loaf of bread. It's part of my daily routine. It's part of that feedback to myself, right? Because I come in fresh like a loaf of bread right after the live show and take in the lessons for myself because quite often I get into these flows. I just kind of miss it myself. But let's just pull it right back to the main trunk and let's just pick up where we left off yesterday with this word patience. I took a bath and I was relaxing in the tub after getting everything I wanted to get done, which wasn't too much, and made myself a cup of coffee. And I was thinking, how are we going to come about this topic of patience tonight? Something that maybe would Well, maybe help people sleep a little bit better at night. Maybe it's right, you're going to be aggravated about it because in your traditions and in your beliefs and cultures, maybe it's not something you take into consideration because of my passion, right? I love history. Like I go back. I'm not talking French Revolution or right Napoleon, though I touch on those subjects too. But I'm going back. I'm going to I'm going to Dragon Man. I'm going to the Neanderthals. I'm going to the beginnings of Homo sapiens and all those other um, beings that come from the lineage of human beings. So I was thinking, talking about that evolution, right? Not maybe so much in that human aspect of us, but I do believe in this moment we are in a stronger, um, what do you call it, place in our evolution as humans because this digital age is right, it's an advance in our evolution for those of us who have chosen to use this digital age as an opportunity to make some movement, and whether it's in communications, whether it's through education, whether it's through medical or technical technologies, right? Or Elon Musk, right? Looking to build a settlement on the moon or Mars or, right? Take a spaceship out to space. Innovation is constantly on the move, but because human beings are becoming, I think, right, more civilized. That's what it is. It's more civilized. And sometimes we're choking on that, right? Being civilized because we still have those aspects of ourselves that are actually animals, right? The way we eat, right? The way we yell at each other, the way we disrespect each other sometimes, the way we set out to be king of the hill and be in that controlling, authoritative position, right? In our fears, right? The alpha, it is in the animal kingdom, right? You see the prides and that the lions have, right? The gorillas, right? They're the wolves. Like there are alphas in almost every species in the world, right? We are not that far separated from, well, let's say the cat, the dog, the horse, the bear, right? Those other creatures on this earth. And I have to say, right, those other beings on those earth, because as much as we're evolving, the animals are evolving. They're being forced to evolve, right? The dog has been, well, it's been mankind's best friend for millennia, for a very, very, very long time. And it's actually been shown in the burying of the remains with the I'm not going to say owners. I don't like that word. Companions, right? They're human companions when they're buried with their human companions. It's like when, you know, warriors get buried with their horses and their wives, and we aren't that far separated from those. It's in our evolution truly because lots of these things that we do we're coming to understand they're not quite right. It's why you have these um, uh, periods in history where we're actually, right, we're evolving in that, right? There's slavery. in some forms. I would suspect that it's still kicking around, but under the carpet, not up at the surface, because, right, it's not something that's tolerated anymore, right? Evolution is changing us. And in this digital age, we are, right? We're making that change pretty fast. And to each of us, like I said, we get to choose how we're going to use the digital age. We're going to use it in communication, we're going to use it in education. Are we going to use it for medical and technology and space? And who knows what other realms as we move forward, right? These were things we would not have even thought of 200 years ago. I think the soonest that it ever really came to to the surface in the general public was, like, the Jetsons, right? I grew up on the Jetsons, and it seemed like fantasy when you saw, I can't remember the characters, but the boss, right? And Jetson's on the screen talking to his wife at home, and they got the robots who are cleaning the house. And all those things are evolving alongside us, right? Alongside us in our choices and in our expectation that it's going to serve us, right? And I think that it has. At the very least, I believe that it has served me very well. If I couldn't make any kind of movement except the movement that I'm doing right now, in better understanding and where I got it wrong, right? Healing some of those parts of me that are having a hard time coming to the surface because of those dynamic relationships and those unique experiences that I have. But each one of us are having, right? Dynamic relationships and unique experiences to ourselves, to us, each one different, and each one coming different. And this is, right, this is this understanding we're all so different. One of those mission statements of mine is, it takes all kinds to make the world, but we're not accepting of each other's, right? In our minds, we're saying, wow, that's strange. That's not right. Or, oh my goodness, right? That's not civilized. And we're saying that to each other. It reminds me of a story. I came across it in high school, and I think about it all the time, in this idea of it takes all kinds to make the world. And it also sits in this idea of perspectives, right? And it's this idea that, it's not an idea, it's the story of a father and son walking down the sidewalk. He's Caucasian, right? And him and his son are walking down the sidewalk. But coming in on the opposite is an Asian father and son, right? And they're walking down the sidewalk. The Caucasian father, right, sees his son's got a runny nose, and he pulls the hanky out of his jacket pocket and he hands it to his son, and his son blows into the hanky, right? And he puts it in his pocket after he wipes his nose, right? The boy on the other side, the Asian boy, he's also got a runny nose, right? And the father looks at him and goes, oh, right, little booger, right? And he bends down and he takes that booger that's hanging from his nose, and he pinches it off, and he flicks it away. And just as he does that, the little boy says to him, or the let's go start with the Caucasian boy. Caucasian boy goes, look at daddy. right? He picked the snot out of his nose and he flicked it off, right? He says, "Oh, but that's the way they do it, right? In China or wherever the little boy came." I was just using it as an example. It could have been, right, any nationality. But at the same time, the little Asian boy is looking up at his daddy and he goes, "Oh my goodness, daddy, did you see that? That little boy blew his nose into his hanky and he's saving it. And he's saving it." Right? Those are traditions, right? These are different ways that we have grown up in our cultures, and neither way of blowing your nose or right taking care of business that way is wrong, but it's in our perspectives, right? It's in our perspectives that we look at these things and go, "Oh my goodness, that's weird," or "That's not true. That's not the way I was taught," right? That isn't part of the majority in its, right? Its thinking and its actions, and right? And we could beat ourselves up for that, right? And we do beat ourselves up for that. This digital age is getting us to the point where we're recognizing how truly different from each other we truly, truly, truly are. And each one of us, right? And here's where that patience comes in, right? I'm non-denominational. Like I said yesterday, I'm neither spiritual, I'm not religious. Though, right, I would say for some of those studies that I take in, I do partake in those lessons, right? Because there's a big part of the majority that at some point I expect that I'll be working with, and it's important for me to understand so that I can respect and honor somebody else's perspective in finding solutions, and not just finding solutions for them, but possibly in that exchange I'll be finding solutions for myself at the same time. But we beat ourselves up, right? In that idea that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we don't got our poop together. We keep wanting to war with each other, right? We're not getting it. We're not helping each other out. There's too many people in this world starving and suffering, and yet there's another part of the world that is thriving and celebrating, right? It'll all happen for each and every one of us, right? It's just in our perspectives. And in this digital age, it offers us up an opportunity to play with different perspectives, to feel out different perspectives. There are lots of things that I've been brought up to understand that I no longer believe in because, right, I've been able in this digital age to take a few lessons, right? And not just in the digital age, but in my own experience, right? To be able to have my own ideas and my own experiences, and those experiences for me to allow them to imprint on me or not, that I could take it on as a truth or not. It's one thing I do believe that my parents agreed upon. Let me have a sip of my coffee. I got a little bit of heartburn. I'm grateful that for some reason they had an idea that they were going to allow their kids to make their own decisions. That's not to say they didn't influence or manipulate in any way, but most definitely we were allowed to make our own decisions. And I was able to pick up some different decisions because, right, just because they were my guardians, just because they were my parents, they were living their own life and they couldn't possibly have everything right. And especially, right, in some of those experiences and being a spectator, I would be able to recognize the differences in my friends' parents and their relationships. And, right, you can uniquely see how different we were. But because I was able to make my own choices, right, I did. I did. And of course, sometimes you make those wrong decisions because some of those lessons that we get are wrong. But we're not patient with our evolution, right? We're patient with ourselves in the moment. We think life is going to last forever. For myself, I don't even give that end game too much thought, right? Too much thought. I do have sisters who are not well, and because we are all still right, we're all still alive and kicking. That I do worry because of the health issues that possibly that one of us might not be around. But for my own sake, I am the oldest of the sisters. I don't even give it any thought that, right, that I could keel over tomorrow, right? Not to say that I am. I don't feel that way in any case, right? But I don't give it that thought. I don't know. Maybe it's in this idea of what I'm doing in preparation. Maybe it's that comfort in knowing that maybe Cindy's not coming back, but there'll be parts of her, right? That will. And because Cindy's willing to sit and take a lesson, right? Or go off and have an experience or an adventure or a conversation, which also could be a lesson, that I have that opportunity to make a little bit of movement. Maybe that movement isn't for this week. Like I said, I didn't have that patience, right? I had I had no idea when it was going to hit, but I certainly didn't think it was going to be more than 10 years. That's for sure because I would never, right? None of us in our right minds would keep at something, right? Keep at something and not have it manifest in our desire for it to happen, right? 10 years? It's going to take me 10 years to do that, maybe more, right? That would have been a no brainer. And I think that would realistically have to be a no brainer for anybody. Again, I'm so grateful, grateful that I just kept going. It's not to the point of oh my goodness, this is never going to happen because in my own beliefs, right? It's going to happen, right? And again, it might not be this week, it might not be next year, it might not be for another 10 years. In truth, it might not even be in this lifetime or the next or the next or the next. But at some point, we talk about Nancy popping up like a jack in a box, right? Those other parts of Cindy, I believe, are also going to pop up like a jack in a box. And when they do, I am optimistic that they're going to be a little bit further ahead because Cindy, right, took in the lessons, all the lessons, and did it patiently, right? Right? Patiently. So going back to this idea of evolution, we're all saying, right? It's God being resurrected, or this is the end of the world, or, you know, we should all be praying to this God, or we should all be asking for forgiveness. We should all be getting this job done right now. today, this week, this year, this lifetime, right? And we drive ourselves, right? Not just batty, but we physically deteriorate ourselves because, right? Science has proven that so much of our illnesses and so much of our ill health is because, right, we're stressing ourselves out so much about what we're not getting done. Baby steps, baby steps, right? It's a long, long process. Hello, Nancy. Good evening. Let me give you a wave if you show yourself, dear. There you go. Right back at you. Uh, hello. Hi. I love the way that you pop in and come say hi to me. You come say hi to me, Nancy. We got this word patience this week. Do you have anything that you want to contribute to patience? Also, Sharon popped in yesterday and she told me to say hi to everybody. So, yeah, Andrew and Sharon were both in to this live last night. So she wanted me to make sure that I said hi to everybody. Yeah, she's gonna try and pop into Chatters Live. I told her to do it uh, alternate Sundays so she can hang out with us on show and tell night. She's so funny. Nancy says, "Me have patience? No, that's not in my vocabulary." And then she laughs. I'm not a very patient person, like I said, too, right? We always want things yesterday, right? It's only in the past half a dozen years or so that I've, right, been practicing that patience, right? Not even a half a dozen years. I think it's, right, the lessons have actually only started to seep into me after the realization, oh my goodness, it's been 10 years, Cindy. And accept, right, that some of those goals and some of those ambitions that I have might not be realized. I do believe they will be, but understand, right? I'm having fun with this, right? That I'm actually making some movement for possibly my family, right? For my own bloodline. I still have four sisters, and I sure would love them to kick around and start on their own because this is what this is, right? This is self-care. This is wellness, right? That we're doing here. But we're doing it in a unique manner, in a kind of Cindy style, right? Adding some of those ingredients that have come into my life in an optimistic idea that possibly, right? In that buffering of what's difficult, that it might be a little bit easier to absorb, right? If we are a little bit patient with ourselves. So that's why we do the baby steps, so as not to overburden ourselves, not to overstress ourselves, not to beat ourselves up, not to give up because we're moving. Cindy started the spring closet today, right? Did she finish it? No, I don't think it's a 1 day project without a little bit of frustration on that because this is my day off. I want to enjoy my days off, and I don't want to mistakenly donate something that I really do love and I'm just moving it along because I have too much, because I want to keep the things that are absolutely, right, making me smile, making me think about, wow, what a great score, right? Lucky you that you came across that perfect top, your favorite color. a top you would never be able to afford, right? These small things that as we're taking in conversations and experiences and adventures, life, right? Those things that trip us up are a little bit buffered by those things that make us smile. Okay, let's see what Nancy's got to say. My diamond painting light board broke. I ordered another one, but waiting is a story of patience in itself. Oh my goodness, because you have another diamond art to do, right? But you have to think too, Nancy, that impatience, because what are you doing in that time span that you're waiting for, right? That piece to come in so you can get back to work, right? That you can go back to what you love, that what makes you smile. Oh, the art. Yeah, the art videos. I saw that you were doing those, Nancy. I thought that Last Supper that you did in that diamond art that you sent me that picture of, right? It was so amazing. I can't believe that you have the patience. How many hours do you have in that um what do you call that? The Last Supper diamond art, that piece of art that you did for your friend. How many hours did you put into creating that one? So meticulous and so many colors. Like you blew me away. It took you 6 months. Oh my goodness. Was it frustrating or did you absolutely enjoy every minute of it? Yeah, 6 months. That's a long time. That's an investment, right? That's an investment. And if you didn't love what you were doing, right, Nancy, if you didn't love it, you would have given up on that. 6 months is a long time to invest in something like that. And that patience, I get it. You've got patience. You say you have no patience. Well, 6 months on a piece of art that you invested in, Nancy, right? You didn't rush through that. And there's a lesson in that for me because I am a quantity girl. You give me some time, and I'm going to say, how much can I get done in this time that you're allotting me? How much how much can I get done with the tools that I have on hand in this moment? I'm all about the quantity, right? When I'm at work, right? I'm thinking we gotta get the floors washed, we gotta get the floor swept, got the bathrooms to do, the lunchrooms to do, the back room to do, the garbages. We got so much stuff to do, right? So I'm thinking about getting that all done. And sometimes, well, maybe because it's not art, but in my mind, it's kind of my art because that represents the job that I'm doing, really, right? so, so I tend to trip myself up for going with quality, or not, sorry, going with quantity rather than the quality, right? And quite often, quality does take time, right? I usually take the time, but I try to get as much done in that time. And you know, when you sacrifice by trying to get as much as you can done, you are making sacrifices, right? You're sacrificing in the quality, you're sacrificing in the joy that you're having in doing it, right? And you're sacrificing that congratulations and that pride that you have for actually accomplishing what you wanted to do, right? 6 months. That's patience, Nancy. You can't 100% say that you're not patient. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done that diamond art, right? Right? It takes patience. Wow, 6 months. That's a long time, right? But then again, I think practicing my craft, right? I got 10 years almost, right? Come September, it will be 10 years since I started my YouTube channel. And then come December, right? It'll be 10 years since my first video. I've got the patience. I'm seeing this through. And it's part of my life now because I'm doing it in baby steps, because I'm not allowing that stress to do that mush, mush, do it faster, do it better, do more, right? That I'm whistling while I work, that I'm absorbing the lesson well, rather than, well, what I tend to do with that, get as much done, right? It's the quality of the information, and I'm doing the very best that I can for myself, right? Because this is for myself. And then the reward in the reward is showing up here and sharing that, right? So I hope, right? I am optimistic that that reward is forthcoming 100%, because I've seen the evidence in my own life, and I've seen the evidence in others' lives that it can be done, and that it's a good way to do it, because I see the smiles, right? I feel the calmings in the systems, right? I I recognize the abilities to do one more step, do one more thing, right? Take care of take care of business in those baby steps, and find those accomplishments, right? Find those accomplishments that we can congratulate ourselves and recognize a job well done. Patience. I know. We'd like to think that we're very patient, right? Like I said, I do have that tendency to go for quantity rather than quality, and that's not a patient trait, right? But in my brand, I've learned to become patient. Maybe it's that lack of expectation, but I don't think so, because I believe as much today as I did when I first started telling people that I was going to be a YouTube superstar. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer for tonight. I'm just going to come in. Um, a foot and a half long. Oh my goodness. Oh, so you are in a little bit backing up in your projects there, Nancy. Well, I'm going to send you a little bit of good cheer, and let's hope your packages get to you tomorrow so you can get back to work, right? Taking your time, getting those beauties done. Okay, it's coming, Nancy. It's coming. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.